Hey friends, today we're going to do a little behind the scenes action here. I'm going to show you my setup for building and assembling balloon garlands and show you everything that I use to build balloon creations, whether it's garlands, arches, walls, mosaics, ceilings, hot air balloons, you name it. I'm going to show you what I need to build it. Hey friends, Rachel with Bubbly Balloon Co. here. Now, I had some really cool outdoor installs planned for you guys this week, and Mother Nature had a totally different plan. So we have had like days of rain and intense storms here in Tennessee, so I had to switch things up. I hope you don't mind. I thought I'd give you kind of like a behind the scenes look or tour of the space that I created. A beautiful table that my husband built for me, what I keep on my table, and what's been requested is what's in my cart, what I have to hand when I'm building. Now, side note, what I keep in my suitcase is what I bring with me on every install. That's a whole different can of worms, and if you're interested, I can make another video on that. Just let me know. So first, let's cover like my table, what's on the table. This is a gorgeous creation from my husband. When my balloon business started blowing up, I was using our dining room table, and I just never had enough room. So he made me this really cool thing. I think it's like 6 or 7 feet long. It's really wide, really, deep, and has a lot of storage space. We built in these trestles. I kind of picked out a design I liked, and they have these storage shelves down here. And that's actually where I kept my stock in the beginning, when I kept everything in like bins until I outgrew that system. And of course I have the whole video on how I organize my balloons, which shows you what I do now. But I do love that there's so much storage on this table, because when a fresh shipment comes in, I can just drop the box there, or if I have a couple jobs coming up soon, I can just keep them out to hand, and it's super convenient. Now, of course, on the table, always in the corner of my videos, is my baby little inflator here. This pump isn't very expensive. It's one of the cheaper ones available, and I can't remember how much I spent on it, but I'll try and link it below if I can. I had 3 or 4 of the same, like this pink, kind of really cheap one before that, and I decided it was time to upgrade, but I wasn't ready to spend like the $300 or $700 on one of the really fancy ones. So I went with this, and it's been great so far. I've really never had a problem with it, but I do always keep like a couple backup pumps nearby just in case it gets overheated, or if I'm doing a lot of inflation, I kind of need to give it a break every now and then. But yeah, this is its home, and it's always just right by my side whenever I need it. I can just inflate and go back to making. It's perfect. Now here I always have these 2 bins. They're kind of just catch-alls, to be honest. In here I keep like these little lollipop sticks for double stuffing like 5-inch balloons, specifically the really tiny ones, because these are so short. And then I just kind of, if I have like trash while I'm building or a defective balloon, I just toss it in there. And I also have this paper straw. If I'm doing foils or orbs and I don't want to use the manual pump, I can also do the straw method. And then in this front one, this is so silly, but when I get like samples of either PR packages or new balloon colors or whatever, I like to inflate them and see what they look like, and I usually just toss them there. Or if I'm trying to come up with a perfect double stuffed custom color for an upcoming job, or I'm constantly on the search for the perfect neutral, I just kind of play with different ones, and once they've been inflated, I usually just toss them there, and if I want to use them later, I can. Otherwise, the bucket gets emptied every once in a while. Now let's talk about my apron, because that has a lot in it, usually when I'm building and installing, and it's particularly convenient when I'm installing. If there's like any trash that I have, leftover clippings of fishing line, or the backs of glue dots or dashes or anything, like I can just shove any trash in here. But other than trash, I keep a few things in here. So I always have a pencil in here. This is my beloved Slytherin pencil. I have a whole set of Harry Potter pencils, you'll see in a second. But I use this for double stuffing balloons. When I'm doing custom colors, I will go ahead and slip a balloon on here and then use that to kind of push it into the outer balloon. So this is really handy, whether I didn't, make them in advance or didn't make enough or whatever. This stays in my apron pocket along with my scissors, which you'll just end up needing for a million things during a build, inevitably, especially if you're working with fishing line or... Now my middle pocket, which is what you always see me going for when I'm like building, is where my 260s live. Whatever color 260 I'm using for the build, that lives in my middle pocket there, so I can just like boop, ferret it out whenever I need it. Super convenient. And then in this end pocket is usually just kind of junk. I do keep business cards there if I'm ever on an install. I can leave a couple cards behind, or if someone, pops by and asks, it's got my Instagram on it. I have safety pins if I'm working with a cloth backdrop. This is usually what I use to attach the garland to the cloth. And lastly, oh, some glue dots. And then lastly, these are these, I don't know if you guys have seen these, they're little just plastic things that you can slip balloons into and it makes a flower design. And if I have leftover balloons that have been inflated, or I just want to do a little extra something for like a kid's party or a baby shower or something, sometimes I'll just, throw a few balloons and make a little flower and give them an extra little pop somewhere. So the apron has everything, very close. The things I'm gonna need like throughout constantly. If I'm working with fishing line, I keep fishing line in here. Like whatever I'm working with at the moment lives in my apron. So the cart itself is usually fairly messy, I'm gonna be honest with you. But I keep all sorts of stuff in here. So on the top shelf is gonna be anything that I might need like immediately, like my spare electric pump. I keep a manual pump up here. My bag of pencils, the aforementioned Harry Potter pencils. Always a glove, okay, just to protect those fingies in case you're on a particularly troublesome one. I've also got this little bin of like command hooks and little, like the sticker things for command hooks, and then other ways to attach as well. And to be fair, I usually pack this with me when I'm going on a job, but it kind of lives here because I've been doing a lot of installs here lately for videos. I've got these two little buckets that I just think are cute, to be honest. But in the one bucket, I keep my floral scissors and my floral tape, plus a pen and a Sharpie, because you never know when you're gonna need something, whether it's for a mosaic or if I'm organizing balloons, I have like a bag or a bin or something that I need to label. I just always have those around. And then in this other one, it's a bit messier, but this is more of like my building stuff. So this is all my different fishing lines that I have used recently, because sometimes these live other places. But yeah, it's a bunch of fishing lines that are in my kits usually. And then just strips and dots. All the stuff I could use to build with basically is right here. So if something, maybe I have one plan in mind when I start, maybe I'm starting by tying balloons together using 260s, using fishing line, and I want to switch mid-build, or I want to do one section a different way, I've got everything I need right here. Okay, on this second shelf here, I have my giant garbage bags. They're like the lawn and garden ones. Again, I'll try to link this stuff down below if I still have links for any of these things that I bought. But the lawn and leaf bags, they're super huge, and they're what I use to put balloons in once I've inflated them before I go onto the job site, wherever I'm gonna be installing. I keep them in there just for safekeeping, to keep them as clean as possible. And then this, honestly, I just have like 4 different glue guns in here. This one I think is a high temp glue gun. I also have a low and a super low temp glue gun. I know there's a lot of artists who make balloon garlands and who fill them out, or make mosaics, different creations using hot glue guns. And I've had the worst luck. Like I can't tell you how many times I've burst a balloon and had hot glue like spray me all over. It's been terrible for me. So I keep buying like lower and lower temperatures thinking that's gonna solve it. And I do use them sometimes. I mean, in the hot air balloon video, I did need a glue gun. But yeah, I just have a bunch of glue guns here, kind of in case. I also have baggies in the cart, which is kind of random, but I have like sandwich size and also gallon sized. Because sometimes after a job, I would have a bunch of balloons left of one color, but I didn't have the bags anymore, or I wanted to keep all of one color in one bag. So I do have gallon and sandwich size baggies in here as well. Now at the bottom of my cart for like years, I have this beautiful decorative paper box that lived there, and it had everything I need for like attaching. It had all my command hooks, it had my can of spray air that I use to clean off a garland at the end if I need to. It had all the stuff I took on the job site with me, but as I kind of grew and my creations got bigger, I needed more and more space, and I ended up eventually swapping to a suitcase, which was good for my box because it was like falling apart. It wasn't meant for so much use. But I just recently swapped out a lot of stuff that was still in it that hadn't been switched over to the suitcase down into this plastic bin. And honestly, it's like 15 kinds of command hooks and not much else. So in here is just a bunch of different command hooks and some glue dots. Like I have glue dots everywhere. I think they're coming out of my ears at this point. And then these giant rubber bands, which I should probably do a video on how to use them because they're so useful and they've saved my butt a few times when making like big fluffy garlands, and I actually really love them. So that's what's going on here in this bin. And the only other thing that's on my cart, two other things, is High Shine, which fights like the oxidizing process, keeps the balloon super shiny. If you're into that look, this stuff can be super helpful. And the last thing is this foam block, which you're probably wondering like, what on earth is this? Actually, I use this to put these little lollipop sticks in here for double stuffing 5-inch balloons. So just like make a whole row of them and then you can whoop, 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 do a bunch at once. To be honest, it's not my favorite method, so I don't use it very much. I find that it's a little bit faster to just do one at a time. To just take one stick, put on the balloon, stuff another one, and keep going. So I don't use this a whole lot, but it was something I tried and it just kind of lives with me now. So in summary, I have anything I can need during the entire build. I'll have all my supplies out. I'll have anything for inflating, which is going to be my electric pumps, backup electric pumps, manual pumps, paper straws. Like I've got anything for the inflation portion, anything for the build. I'm gonna have my 260s, my fishing line, my strips, my dots, my hot glue guns, my low temp glue guns, like anything that could go into assembling and building is also here. And then I even have a couple things I use for installing, like those command hooks that I'm gonna end up packing into my suitcase if I'm going off site. And of course I'm gonna have whatever balloons I need out for the job. So my blush and white balloons live over there. You've already seen where the rest of my stock lives in the organization video, but whatever I'm gonna be using for the job, I have it out either on the table next to me or sometimes in these trestle shelves down below to make sure I've got everything to hand. And you'll usually see a bottle of water and an energy drink next to me when I'm building as well. But let me know, what did I miss? Like, what do you have to have with you when you're building? Okay guys, if this weather permits, let's get back to some regularly scheduled programming. I'll see you soon. In here,